find us in different ways and come up in different ways, and helping them experience the excitement and wonder of exploring their family history, and we'd love to get more of them hooked as well into the excitement of it. So really, anyone with British and Irish.
The US market is a big market, and Australia, even though we're small, because so many of us have British and Irish ancestry. I'm 60-something% Irish, and it's full of brick walls.
Well, and it's interesting. We talk about how sometimes we tend to be a little bit too British and understated. But for example, on the Irish side, we have twice as many Irish records as any other company. We went through and counted.
Yeah.
More British parish records than anyone else, and so in that scenario, we've really started to be bolder about saying, if you've got any British and Irish roots, your best chance of finding something about them is at FindMyPast.
So I can take it from this that your niche is really the British and Irish, and connecting those people with that sort of ancestry.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Do you want to ask something?
Oh, I'm just excited. I'm a lifestyle. There are genealogy experts here. So what would you say to someone? I have a basic family history, and I have my own personal tree, and I've done some. But what would you say to someone maybe not quite as experienced, but kind of in the middle, like starting out? Like, what can I? Well, I guess you said it at the keynote. What can I find where can I find my place? Like, find my path?
Yeah. I think one of the things in general. Many of the genealogy companies have really focused on the genealogists, and we love them, we care about them, and at the same time the type of customer you're talking about. I was telling somebody, I was sitting on a plane next to someone, and we were talking about it, and he said, I'm really interested in that, and we pulled up a website, and started searching for himself, couldn't find anything. Where we're going is we'll continue to publish the best of British and Irish records, but you'll start to see, as we start to create new and different products, especially around our tree. The idea behind a shared tree is that you're able to benefit, much like Tamsin said in the keynote. You're able to benefit from the work that somebody's already done. I mean, in many of our families, you may not be the genealogist, but Aunt so-and-so or Uncle so-and-so, yes, has done all this work. And you may not know how to get at that, but what if we could connect you to that via this community tree, right? And what if we could help you with that so that it's easy for you to start, but also easy for you to keep going, and for the genealogist, you do it in a genealogically sound way. Right?
Like
that is the holy.
worlds.
It's the holy grail, right? Many of non-genealogists are really interested about just discovery and the stories. That's there. I mean, family history. There's no better place to get stories, and so we believe we can bridge that gap, especially with things like our family tree, which you'll hear more about in the future.
Yeah, I'm wondering, of course, about the criteria for this. What shall we call it? Accurate tree, reference tree, whatever. What sort of criteria are going to be applied? How will people reference its site to get?
Yeah. So this is, and I'll be really clear. This is in development right now, but there's a couple of pieces. So one of the things that we do is when you look at someone's tree first, you run an air check, and this is not that. This is not that dissimilar from what you'd see on some other tree sites, making sure that people didn't die before they were born, things like that. Mm-hmm. But then what we do is we actually go through and score trees. So once we look at the error rate, we'll score trees, and you can start to score trees based on the number of sources that are added, the types of sources that are added, and that allows you to look at a tree and determine is this tree sort of a highly researched, highly verified tree? Doesn't mean it's perfect, right? Okay. We all know that no record's perfect, no tree is perfect, but it means that there's a greater chance that that's going to help someone, as opposed to any tree that may not have been sourced well, may not have been researched well, that actually could really confuse someone and send them down the wrong path for many months. I mean, many of us who have been starting out have fallen into those traps as well. And so we'll look at those types of models as we go forward. And I think part of the reason we want feedback from the genealogical community is, what are the best ways for us to score those and to do that. But those are some of the ideas that we're working with right
So you'll try and automate this scoring system. You won't be able to do it with humans.
No, it'll be there's some human sort of testing that'll be done, but the idea will be to automate that again, which you could never do before. I mean, when people had sort of hard copy trees or offline trees, but now that those trees are online, it's much, much easier to do that and to do it in a credible way.
I think that's a question that a lot of people would have had after listening to the presentation this morning. There are quite a few online trees around. How are they going to make sure that this is valid? The validity, check the validity.
Yes.
That's interesting. We shall watch from the sidelines.
That's right.
So Tamsin, it's really great to see a woman in this role. I'd just like to congratulate you on being at the top in a family history organisation. It's
a real privilege. FindMyPast is a great company, and it's a fabulous industry. And I said it this morning. I come from a technology and digital background, and I love the way that you combine that sort of tech and digital with these really human stories that make us know more about ourselves and feel differently about ourselves. So that's really exciting.
So, have you now gotten a little bit into family history? Have you made some discoveries? Personal discoveries?
I definitely have. A few. That one of my lines, with some help from FindMyPast and also a couple of the genealogical societies who did help me go a bit deeper into the records, helped me trace one of my lines on my father's side. They're actually in Canada, but they trace back to the Mayflower.
Oh, really?
And to a man called John Alden, who joined the Mayflower as the cooper. So that's the person who you'll know makes the barrels and buckets. So quite important on a ship where you have to store a lot of things. And unlike most of the crew, he decided to stay in Plymouth, and went on to have a role there and got married, and so hugely interesting. So and then they went back and forth into Canada over here. So there's a rich vein there that I'm learning about, and it's been again really wonderful how people help each other. And that's something that we're really trying to build into Rotary, is that community element. It's really not an isolated activity, is it? You have to share that's fundamental.
It's a wonderfully supportive community, and it's great to have people like you and Ben there on our side. So thanks for chatting with us.
So much, Jill.
Thanks, Jill. Thanks, Tara.
Thank you.